Here we are with Chapter 2, Lesson 3, the first part of it. We're going to be talking about articles. We have so far already talked about some articles. We've talked about un and une, as well as the plural form of that, which is des. This chapter, we're talking more about le and la, and the plural of those, which is les. But it's kind of difficult to know what the difference is between all of those. So what I like to do is I like to give my students a visual where I can show them sort of a continuum here. It goes in both directions. And it seems to have sort of like three different parts. Over here, all the way on the very, very specific side of things, I'm trying to say the equivalent of the. Okay, so as in something like, I like the dog with the floppy ear and the drool coming out of his mouth. Okay, if I want to say the, I'm going to use le, la, or les. Le is my masculine, la is my feminine, and les is my plural. For either le and la, let's say that my word starts with a vowel, like le and étudiant. Or it starts with something that is acting like a vowel, like le and And let me put another one, feminine. La, otari, which is a seal, like the animal, a seal. What will happen here is when I have le or la together with a word that starts with a vowel or something that acts like a vowel, I will take off the le, la, les, the le or the la, and I'll turn it into apostrophes, okay? So my other one, not only with le and la, will also be L apostrophe in this group. So those are all ways of saying the. On the other side of this, we have the entire category of something, which is like kind of being very, very general, right? As in, oh, I like all dogs. Okay? I like all dogs. It doesn't really matter which one. I'm not being very specific. That's also a place where I'm going to use le, la, L apostrophe, or les. Something like, j'aime les chiens. Chiens, dogs. Okay? Just the same way as on my specific side of things, I might use j'aime le chien noir. I like the black dog, assuming that we kind of know that that's very specific. So very specific and very general both use le and la and les. On the other hand, then we have what we were using in the last chapter with vocab, and we have un and une and des. These are neither very, very specific, nor is it the entirety of a category. What un and une mean are a, and des means, des means some. So it's neither very specific because it would be like saying, oh, I want a dog. And it's not the entire category because I don't want all the dogs, right? So I might say something like, je regarde. Regarde means to look at or to watch. Un chien. I'm looking at a dog. Or, plural, je regarde des chiens. Okay? So just understanding the difference between le, la, and les, and un, une, and des is very, very helpful. The other thing is knowing how to pluralize something. So I'm going to move down a little bit. We've talked about how un and une, when I pluralize them, will become des. And we've talked about how le or la or L apostrophe, when I pluralize, will become les. But you also have to do something to the noun. So oftentimes our noun, let's say that we had une chaise. If I want to pluralize it, I now need to change not only the article, une, to become des, but I also need to change the noun itself, chaise, and I'm going to add an S. Most of the time, adding an S is the way that we pluralize something in French. However, there are some differences. So let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger for us so we can really see it. So it says most of them you can just add an S, of course, okay? But here are some other common patterns. Things that end already in an S, an X, or a Z. You will not change it. You will not add an S or anything extra onto it. Examples of this are le cours. All you do is you change the article to become les cours. Un choix, a choice. Change the article, it will become des choix. Le nez, nose, will become les nez. All you do is change the article. Another example of this would be un pays, from our last chapter, becomes des pays. But do be very aware and very careful that un becomes des. Le la becomes les. So you don't want to mix and match, right? I don't want to turn un into les. That's not going to work, right? Just the way that I don't want to use le and change it to des. That's not going to work. You have to stay within the same category. Okay. Continuing, we have EAU endings or IEU endings. Those will just, instead of adding an S, you'll add an X onto them. It will not change the pronunciation at all. Le tableau becomes les tableaux. The only difference in pronunciation that you hear is with the le versus les. Le bureau, les bureaux. Le lieu, les lieux. Okay, and the last one is, if your noun ends in an AL or an AIL, you'll take off the L as well as the IL, and you'll replace it with a UX. This is the one where you'll actually hear a pronunciation difference. Okay, pronunciation change. Here we go. We have un hôpital. I'll change my un to become des. And I'll change hôpital to become hôpitaux. So this AUX sounds like O. Le travail, work, becomes les travaux. Les travaux. Excellent. What we're going to do in class is I will give you a list of words and I'm going to have you change them from singular to plural. I'll give you just a couple here before we end our video. So let's see. If I had une chaîne, I would like to pluralize that. If I have le canal, I want to pluralize that. Un oiseau, I want to pluralize that. And let's see if I can think of another one. Le prix, I want to pluralize that. Okay, so let's start with this. Une chaîne. First of all, I want to make sure to change my article first. My une will become des. Chaîne, it doesn't follow any of these previous rules, so I'm just going to keep it with the normal thing, and I'm just going to add an S onto it. Okay. Le canal. I'm going to first change my article. My le will become les. Canal follows one of these rules. It's got this last one. It ends in an AL. So I'm going to change that to become canaux. Canaux, canals. Un oiseau. I'll first change my un to become des. Oiseau follows one of the rules here. EAU. So it will get an X instead of an S. Des oiseaux. And I'll do my little liaison here, just like I did here. Un oiseau, des oiseaux. Le prix, the price. I'll change my article first to become les. Oops. And prix already ends in an X, so I can't add an S onto it, so I will just keep it as that. Like I said in class, I will give you some extra ones for you to try on your own.